Hello and welcome to our first ever MME Full Chat, where we are going to take you on an exciting ride through our brains.
That's a bit worrying. I don't know if that's a good idea, really. Can we restrict it a little bit? Can we put a limiter on that?
All right, let's talk about cars.
Yeah, let's just stay with cars.
Let's talk about
I don't know
cars.
about full chat, everything in our brains. That might
I don't
be
know,
a
that's
little bit
very
too
disturbing.
no, disturbing and also quite dangerous, I think.
Yeah. Well, it's been 6 years, hasn't it? It's been 6 years.
6 years of motoring Middle East. Oh my God, look, there it is. Look, I've just killed it. Look.
Is it right off the
6 years
bat?
and I killed
He's
it.
broken the internet already. That's what happened.
There
Oh,
it
it's
is,
back,
there
it's
it
back.
is,
It's
there
fine.
it is. 6
It's
years,
fine.
yeah. So yeah, 6 years, boy, what a ride it's been, eh?
You know, I love a ride. And it's been a bit of bucking bronco.
Yeah.
Off.
I mean, 6 years, I mean, we came off the back of obviously a very successful a magazine, a print magazine, which was Middle East edition of Car magazine. And once that was discontinued, we came into a digital environment only, where we knew most of you people were, and let's be honest, you know.
Everybody watching this is probably somebody we already know. But we're hoping to attract a few new people with our exciting conversation. And part of the reason we're doing
for yourself, exciting conversation.
Part of the reason we're doing this is we have these great chats every day, and we think, God, it'd be nice if somebody recorded this for a change.
And everybody thought, no.
I'm getting you to be positive, and this is what I get.
Positive, right?
Positive.
Positive. Yes, positivity. That's
So
what
I've got my positively cup of tea.
Yes,
so
positive, right, okay.
So 6 years of Motoring Middle East. What are we and what do we do?
What is Motoring Middle East? Well, Motoring Middle East is...
He's got a cheat sheet, they can't remember.
Yeah, I can't remember. I've got to look. No, I haven't got a cheat sheet actually. Well, I mean, it's about cars, right? It's basically it's news, reviews, opinions. It's all of that stuff. But it's car stories you care about. I like this phrase. I coined it recently. I quite like it.
Because there are a lot of car stories out there.
There's a lot of stuff out there.
Yeah.
There's a lot of noise on the internet. There's a lot of automotive noise. You know, I mean, there's stuff coming. There's stuff happening. There's pictures being leaked. There's viral videos. There's stunts being happening. There's people doing silly, stupid stuff in cars to get views and stuff like that. But we've got to channel all of that into an environment where you can get it. At the same time, we've got to filter some of that down, haven't we?
I think part of the problem is when we first started motoring journalism, the only place you could get it was Top Gear and Angela Rippon.
That's the way, William Woolard.
Well, in my era, I started doing the Clarkson era.
Yeah, she was a newsreader, you see.
Yeah, she was very proper.
Yeah.
But that was the only motoring outlet. And for people who liked cars, like you, I bet there was nowhere else to see cars except in movies, films. That's where we also got a lot of our background, was comic books, movies, and so on.
Yeah.
But
magazines.
TV, magazines. But cars weren't as popular. You were kind of a nerd, a geek, a bit of a weirdo if you liked about cars.
I don't agree with you, actually. I think cars are less popular. Yeah, straight away. See, we never agree on anything. That's the whole point. But straight away, I would say that no, that's truer now than it was back then. I think back then we were all into cars. Because cars were important to us. I mean, growing up, I couldn't wait to get a driving license. I couldn't wait to have a car. Because
nobody cares anymore.
Because that represented freedom. That represented independence. That represented me going and hanging out with my mates and just going places. And, you know, I grew up in Jeddah. Even if it just meant going down to the Corniche, getting a shawarma and a Pepsi and just sitting there and just chatting. But at least we had a car to be able to do that. A car was crucial. I think now it's different.
You grew up in Jeddah, I grew up in Dubai. And honestly, it's a bit like comic books or films or movies. People weren't into cars. I mean, not in the sense beyond, that's a nice car, that's really expensive, I want to own it. But we cared about all the nerdy and weird and different cars. And I think back then there wasn't so much of it. In the movies, if you saw a car, it was fishtailing sideways.
Yeah.
And the hero was sliding across the bonnet.
But there you see, there's another thing. You're talking about, if you saw cars, you saw them in TV, in action. Movies, or in magazines and stuff, right? But in reality, you wouldn't see them so much, right? Now it's sort of changed because now, like when I was a kid, I remember, this is now even before that, this is way back in the UK.
When I was a kid,
in the playground, in our school, St. Luke's Primary School in Islington, and
very specific.
If we saw even a nice Jaguar go past the playground,
rush up to the gates.
All the kids would just rush up to the fence, oh my God, you know, and it would only be like a Jaguar XJ or something like that, you know.
But you would stop what you were doing.
We would stop what we were doing and rush to the fence to go and look at this car.
This reminds me actually of one of my last issues of cars. I drove Eleanor, and hopefully we can throw up an image now of Eleanor.
Yeah, throw that at me. Eleanor, I don't freaking know where Eleanor is.
This is why did I do the video and why did he do the IT side of things?
Oh man!
But basically,
I've got pictures of a woman.
Let's assume that he's thrown up an image digitally afterwards.
Right? Yeah, somewhere.
Now there we go.
Right,
That's it. That's it. Look at that. Look at that. That's it. So I drove that actually.
How did I do that? I'm impressed with myself.
That's very impressive, actually.
amazing.
Let's keep that there for the rest of the entire thing. It's beautiful. Eleanor from Gone in 60 Seconds, and we
Go
were.
full screen on that.
Oh God!
Where's full
This is
screen?
all he wants to do.
There you
Is just tweak about with
There
it.
it is. There's Eleanor. But yeah, I mean, these were cars that stood out.
So can we talk
It
about
made a
who had
difference.
this car? We've gone completely
Yeah.
off track. But you remember you drove one of these first.
I drove a classic Recreations Mustang Fastback. I think it was a 67 Mustang Fastback.
Belonged to our mate
classic
Jean-Luc,
Recreations.
who is still around.
And that was red with white stripes, and it was one of the greatest cars I've ever driven around Dubai. And we drove it in the typical Dubai hotspots where all the Bugattis and Ferraris and Lamborghinis hang out, and nobody looks at them at all. Nobody gives them a second glance. I drove this thing around. Oh my God! I mean, I was
It
a
was
legend.
loud. It was
but
so
I
loud.
was a legend.
It was
I
so
was
loud.
I was a hero. I was a celebrity. I was a film star. You know, despite this face. I was a film
But you
star.
are a film
I was,
star.
You know,
Yeah,
I was
Amitabh Bachchan.
looking, I was, yeah, exactly. I was driving this thing around. I felt so damn cool. I did not want to get out of it. I mean, it's just like, you know, you talk about feel-good cars. That's a feel-good car.
So I drove the Eleanor version of this, but there were only 13 made. And at the time, it had been sitting in a Sheikh Zayed Road showroom for 3 years, and it hadn't been sold yet, because they ordered a lot for it. I think it was like 900,000 dirhams. It was a fully accurate version of Eleanor. So it had nitrous, which was not hooked up for legal reasons. But it had a 750 horsepower built engine with a Tremec 5-speed. And you could, if you hook the nitrous up, nobody knew how much power it would make because nobody had ever done
Go,
it.
baby, go.
So it was like 1,000 horsepower, who knows?
Who knows?
But it was an actual licensed car from the studio. Beautiful, beautiful machine. I got to drive it when it had 13 miles on the clock. Because
But going back to where we actually started this conversation, which was about how, you know, the fact is that people aren't as interested in cars now as they were before.
I haven't driven one of these.
Because the cars
Drive
I
it
think,
for 3 seconds,
aren't-
you'll
well,
be
they aren't
interested.
as cool now. Maybe that's the argument. Maybe they're just not as cool. Maybe just, you know.
Hey, hang on, I know why I brought this up. We drove this out to Satwa and did some photos. And in Satwa, it stopped working. And just like the movie, it wouldn't start. Like, and you start talking to it, like, please, Eleanor, please, Eleanor. And the owner was there, and he was like getting a bit nervous because there were all these kids starting to swarm around it. And it was a very expensive car. And he was very worried that somebody started climbing up on it. But you turn the key, you hit the gas, and it just started up.
There you
after
go.
a
You
while.
talk to cars.
And
You
it,
talk
and,
to
it, and it
cars.
was alive. That car was alive. And it's still around. It's still in Dubai, although I don't think the new owner takes it very far. Many
No,
places now.
you talk to all
This
cars.
is the only legal one in Dubai. There's another one running around, but that's not the same as this one.
By legal, you mean official?
Licensed,
Official,
yeah.
yeah.
It's all legal. I mean, Eleanor is a film. Anybody can make a copy of it. But this was an incredible car.
Yeah, the Classic Recreation had the official license to actually
Then,
make the...
then that was
had, I said
2010,
had,
yeah.
Yeah, they had the license to make the official licensed movie car replicas. And that
But
was
now
what it was.
anybody can do an Eleanor.
Yeah.
But this car was special because it had that roary. It had no power steering. It had no power brakes. Didn't matter. It barely had AC. The AC were like these tiny vents, tiny vents.
Didn't matter. The fact was that you're so cool driving around. Who really cares? Who cares?
They're
about
like a
that?
16-point harness. It was pointless. And
But the thing, so that did you do that for car? You did that for Car Magazine.
Car magazine.
But then, so now we've gone beyond. We've gone pre MME. So what about MME? What's sort of been the highlights of MME?
Ooh, quite a few things actually. I think. Ooh,
I think the meets have been a highlight.
the meets have been.
Even
fun.
though we haven't done one for 4 years.
We'll
but
get
people
back to that in a
still-
second.
People still ask
What
us.
are the
We'll
meets for
come back to
those?
that,
For
yeah.
people who don't know, what are the meets?
The meets are, what are they? I mean, they're hard to define. They're a gathering of like-minded people with their cars. You know, so basically you turn up with your
Hundreds
car,
and hundreds
you
of
park.
people.
Well, it started off with 25. It
Yeah.
started off with 25 people.
At Fatburger now
Yeah.
and on Beach Road,
Yeah.
which is no longer open, sadly.
Really?
Yeah, Fatburger closed down.
All right. So that's where it started. That's what it was. Started off with 25 cars. And
We
it
took the car
grew-
park. We took the overflow car park.
Yeah. But then it grew towards the last couple of ones that we did at Festival City to 1,000 cars, and it just got a bit out of hand, got a bit too much. But anyway, I think the fact that we took that concept and we grew it to such a level in such a short time, in fact, too short a time, let's be honest, it was too fast
Yeah.
for us, but the amount of impact that we had. I remember the head of EMSF saying, this is the biggest car meet we've ever seen in the UAE at that
But also
time.
it was very varied. I think it was like a bit like a United Nations. Like if you had a Mustang, you could bring your car. But the Camaro Club could also come. And they could sort of
If you had
square
a
off.
Nissan Sunny with a nice paint job, you could bring it.
A
It
lot
didn't really
of
matter,
a lot of
you know?
car meets now, and I don't want to point any fingers, but I think a lot of some of the car meets lately have been very restrictive. They're like very much focused on classics or JDM or this, and there's nothing wrong with that. But ours was different because anybody could bring anything. As
and
long as you felt your car was cool.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that I remember somebody saying that to me, they said, well, one of the coolest things about this is just you never know what to expect. You just never know what's actually going to be.
Whereas, if you go to a stance meet, you will know that you see a lot of stance cars. I don't get stance.
No, me neither. I thought you were supposed to get it and I wasn't.
I don't get stance. I mean, I love my stance friends, but I don't get it. Yeah. But okay, going off topic.
But anyway, the point, I think the meets were definitely, one of the things, and we'll come back to that because somebody's asked. So what we're going to do today is we're going to go through some of the questions. About a week ago, I think you put up a post on our Facebook page.
We're going to do this more often now.
Check out our Facebook page, facebook.com/Motoring Middle East. We put up a lot of stuff.
YouTube.com/Motoring
on
Middle
there.
East. Yeah.
We put a lot of stuff on there. And I think a week ago, you put up a call to action on there saying, ask us anything.
I asked a question, fancy magazine word. Call to action.
Call to action! Action! So, but that's what we did. So we have a bunch of questions which we'll go through.
What else in Motoring Middle East? So we've done videos. From 2014, we started doing videos because we figured that we should put some faces. And to be honest, journalism is changing. That is a whole different video, which we should probably do at some point.
That's a whole different topic.
But I think we moved from writing and page setting. We moved from actually designing magazines to designing a website, which is still there, motoringme.com, and we still write on it. But it clearly seems obvious to me. And you tell us otherwise. You can tell us in the comments, you can message us, you can leave a remark, you can put a dislike. You can tell us what I think was already obvious, that people want to see video. They want to see us. They want to see if we're worth listening to. Hence we're doing this.
But we're doing, we over the last 2-3 years, we've been doing a lot more video. A lot of our reviews are online, but we've been doing some really cool stuff as well. And I think some of the highlights, the off-road versus on-road.
Oh, that was a dream.
Such a
car
cool
versus truck. It was so much fun.
So we did an FJ Cruiser versus a Toyota 86. So I did the 86 on the road. He did the FJ Cruiser through the desert. As the crow flies.
We won. Of course. We won.
You have to watch the video. You're not supposed to tell them that. You're supposed to tell them, go watch the video.
If I put my finger up
we're going to edit that out.
Can they watch the video if you put a link here?
I don't know. Maybe. No, you can't. I don't think YouTube allows the things anymore.
Oh, for goodness sake. No. So I'm just making gestures for no apparent reason.
It'll be in the comments. We'll put a link in the comments. And then some of the other videos, one of my favorites was the Cadillac one, the gangster movie.
I was just going to bring up the Cadillac one.
I really enjoyed making that, and I think it's a really good fun one to do.
That was like our Quentin Tarantino film.
Yeah.
Because we like films as much as we like cars, or at least I do. And we do like to mash the two together. And I think
So what could you go again? I'll put the link in the comments below, or somewhere on the screen, or elsewhere. And it's somewhere around here, there'll be some links or something. But this is basically, we had a Cadillac Escalade, and we just turned it into a mini movie. And it's all about a secret rendezvous and a secret exchange in this suitcase that nobody knows what's in it. So you have to watch till the end to find out. So that was a lot of fun. The other thing I really enjoyed doing, we did earlier this year, was the Chevrolet Camaro tribute films. We did, how many did we do of those? 5 of them, right?
5 of those.
We did 5.
And I should make very clear,
5 decades of the Camaro.
There's straight into some controversial stops right off the bat. Those were commercial films, so that's part of the reasons that they can support us doing videos for you for free. Yeah. So we don't have to charge you for any of this. But those 2 videos were paid for, one by Cadillac and one by Chevrolet. Yeah. And rather than just making them boring, because it could have been really boring, to be some behind the scenes goss here. They just wanted us to talk about the new Escalade, and we thought we can do better than that.
Yeah. No, then we decided to turn it into a story. See, right back at the start of this, I said car stories you care about. And I think, at the end of the day, we're storytellers. That's what we are.
My mother would say you tell a lot of lies.
We tell a lot of lies. No, we don't tell lies.
We actually don't.
We create stories. Because that's what it's all about nowadays.
It's something that you can enjoy.
Telling a story. Because just giving you information, there's lots and lots of places where you can
There's another video somewhere of a guy sitting in front of an Escalade and just telling you, well, it's 2017, we've got this, and there's a new 8-speed automatic, and then you kill yourself of boredom.
Well, we do that as well. I mean, we do. To be honest, our reviews are like that. We do that. But every now and then, if we get an opportunity to create a story, to create something interesting around a car, that's what we're going to try and do every time. That's what we're going to try and do.
And that's what the Escalade for, because you got to find out about the new Escalade, but you also wondered what was in the case. And if you're wondering what's in the case, you should go and watch that video.
Another highlight for me, I think, I really enjoyed, and we haven't done that many press trips, especially over the last couple of years for some reason, but a couple of years ago I did a trip with Ford through Jordan. And I thought that was such an epic trip, because what we did is we followed the footsteps of Lawrence of Arabia, and when he took
goes to Shahzad Valnada.
Yeah, so I had the Arab thing on,
and they raided.
We got to raid a train, and we got to drive up to a train. It was like
what
a
was
movie.
the car? It was Ford Ranger.
We had a whole range of it.
It was a Ford SUV Ranger.
We had the Ranger, we had the Ford SUVs, we had the F-150s, so we had a whole bunch of cars, and it was a huge lot of fun. And there's a video again on.
It's all about Wadi Rum.
Yeah, Wadi Rum.
Where they shot Lawrence of Arabia.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
they shot Star Wars.
Yeah.
Lots of things have been shot.
Yeah.
Indiana Jones, Last Crusade.
Epic place. Epic location. You all got to do that. I mean, Jordan's not very far.
Did you go to Petra?
I did. It's not on the video. Because I just did that because I wanted to see Petra.
But the thing about Petra is...
Yeah. But we didn't drive a car into Petra. Yeah,
you can't.
No, you can't. No,
it's got a lot of steps.
Yeah.
They didn't tell you that.
It's a lot of walking.
It's a lot of walking.
It's a lot of walking. Just to get to there, it's a lot of walking. It's a lot of and when coming back...
Could you drive a Raptor up those steps?
No, I don't think so.
Was
plus, you damage it. You wouldn't be allowed. You're not even allowed to go inside now.
It's UNESCO.
Yeah, it's protected.
Yeah.
So even if you go into them and breathe, you can't do that because that actually erodes the structure itself.
Hang on.
Yeah.
You can't go into them and breathe.
They stop people going in there because it's only limited.
So do they strangle you and there's a whole bunch of dead bodies out the front?
I think there's just a sniper that shoots you if you go anywhere near it.
Straight out.
No, that's a joke. Fake news. No, I was just making it up. No. So
I don't know. Can't say these days.
No.
But they don't let you go into Petra anymore.
Not inside the actual, the structures. With the treasury
is
and
the,
stuff
is
like
the,
that.
Is the cup of Christ in there?
I don't know.
Is there a knight?
No, I think Indy took it.
No, it fell down the hole.
Yeah.
It fell down.
Oh,
the
did
hole.
it? Okay.
The cup. Imagine that poor knight. He sat there for 1,000 years, and Harrison Ford turns up, which is not bad, admittedly.
Yeah, but then he was like, "What do I do now?" Can you imagine? He's like, "What do I do now?" Get a new job or something.
I think
what did he do after that?
I think he kicked the bucket because the entire thing fell down at the end of that movie.
Did he?
Yeah.
That's a shame.
Petra was completely boned.
I thought he's been cooped up for 1,000 years. You think he'd
First
get
person
out?
he'd
go out and he'd go rave. He'd go Vegas or something.
To be fair, he got fairly lucky. He got Harrison Ford. He got a fairly hot blonde.
Yeah.
Alison, what's her name? Harbour. I can't remember her name. She was fairly well. She was well, and then he died minutes later.
Yeah, that was it. Oh well. You wait, then 3 Hollywood stars come along, and then you die. Okay, cool.
Yes, it was a disaster.
Oh dear.
And then he turned up 100 years, actually 20 years later.
Yeah, it was too late then. Shall we get to some of these questions then?
So we're going to be as honest as possible, by which we mean 100% honest. Because let's be honest, this isn't one of those videos where we're going to yank your chain. We are going to tell you the answer to the questions you have asked us on Facebook. Again, facebook.com.
You can. I'm telling shit, I can say
I've
that.
just said we're going to be honest.
Yeah, right.
This is facebook.com/More2Middle East. Again, you're free to ask us anything at any time about anything, except life, love, romance. We're kind of shaky on those ones, but we'll do cars. We can handle. So, which one do you want to tackle first?
I don't know. Should we just go through them sequentially, the way they came in?
All right. So, who's the first victim?
Hang on. I can't read any. I've lost the ability to read. So Salman Muhammad, he said, MME has become a powerful moniker. What a moniker we are.
Good one to start with.
It has become a powerful moniker for car review in the UAE. There you go. Well, I'd like to think Middle East and GCC, but yes, UAE definitely.
The world,
Pinky,
the world.
Absolutely, yeah. I think Motoring Middle East has the potential to host a Top Gear-like TV show reviewing cars on a more dramatic level, excluding the celebrity part, of course. He didn't like the celebrity bit. Question is, would MME consider hosting a car show on telly in the near future? Well, we were on telly.
We were briefly, actually for a year, on Gear 1 TV, which is now sadly defunct. But for a while, we were on TV.
Yeah, we were on Gear 1 TV, which went out to a whole load of countries across the region, free to air. Yeah. And a lot of people at the time did send us little screen grabs of seeing us on there.
I saw it while sitting in Fatburger and watching myself on TV. That's really weird. Nobody came up and asked for my autograph. Yeah. I was waiting. Now, I lingered, but nobody came and asked for my autograph.
Surprised there. But now again, being honest now, putting an honesty hat on, the trouble is, now that show that we did on there was essentially repurposing our existing content, which is stuff that we create ourselves on zero budget, I should add. However, to do a TV program and to do it properly requires a shit ton of money. Let's be honest. They require. I mean,
Top Gear costs
say
something like
Top
£1
Gear,
million pounds an episode. Yeah.
And that's,
so
that's without the celebrities' salaries. That's just the production cost.
Well, they had that plus production. So that's about 8 episodes, £8 million a year, give or take. And that was funded by the unique way the BBC is funded, which is through the license payer, the TV tax, right?
Massive crews, massive facilities. They can fly around the world. They can do all kinds of stuff.
Slightly difficult for us. Slightly difficult, I'll admit.
This is where you were talking earlier about the sponsored content that we did, the branded content that we did, such as the Kamara video, the Cadillac.
Which you should watch, by the way. Big plug for the Kamara. That's the most fun we've had making videos. It took us like 3 months to make them, and we really, really love those.
And
films.
even the road versus rock video, the FJ versus the thing. Now the FJ. Now if you watch the FJ versus the 86 video. That was a crew of 15 people.
You can't see them because they're very good.
There's a crew of 15 people. There's backup crew. We took 3 days of filming. 3 days, dawn to dusk, every single day. 3 days of filming that. And then when you watch
Here's something people may not know. I'm going to say it now because we're being truthful. We had 2 identical FJs. Now you see one in the video, and if you look closely for some of the shots, because I couldn't be everywhere at once, and some of the shots we had like a stunt double doing some of them. It's all coming out now. But we had a couple of cars, and with different, you'll see different license plates.
So if you're eagle-eyed amongst you,
you will see different license plates.
But the point was that we could. It was a massive operation, and it was done because it was a piece of sponsored content. But for us to create something like that, we can do it, and there the evidence is there. It can be done, and that was not quite BBC level, but I would say 80-90% there.
Oh, it was wonderful. But this is the previous thought. The reason we had 2 cars, I always like saying this, is because we were prepared to write off a car. The whole point of that video was that just in case we had one.
Driving off road fast.
Yeah, things get dangerous. Things got damaged. We could do a whole video on just behind the scenes facts of the videos you already made. Like one thing we found on the day when we shot the video, we planned it like 6 months in advance.
Yeah.
Get the cars liveried up, get the crew flown in from Turkey. Oh goodness, it was a massive thing. Then we get there, it had rained the night before, and the sand was all wet. So nothing was happening. You just drive across the sand, and there would be no flurry of sand. It just looked terrible. So this is the best laid plans of mice and men, right? So we had to wait till the next day, and then the sand would start churning up. But actually, on the first day, the footage was terrible. So we did all of our talking bits.
And this is the thing, it's like,
so a lot of work these videos.
Some video that you can see, there's one that we did with Lexus a while back.
Yeah.
And you can see that, I'm just going to play this in the background, because this is the one we've been talking about. And, we did this Lexus video, and we were doing these detailed, in-depth reviews, kind of walk-arounds of these cars. And we lost half a day, because a sandstorm just suddenly happened.
It was like a mummy-style sandstorm.
And there's the crew with all their equipment outside, and they were like, "Oh, damn!"
They're on the clock, by the way.
They're on the clock. We're paying for these guys, and they suddenly have to protect their equipment because the sand gets everywhere. Sand ruins everything.
So we had to stuff everybody into cars and hope for the best.
Yeah. So and then we waited, and then we lost half a day.
Yeah.
We lost pretty much half a day. So I mean, going back to the question.
And then one memory card didn't write properly.
Yeah. So then you have to go back and.
But go back and refilm everything. At the end of the long day, it was absurd. This is what happens on video shoots. They're not fun. People say, "Can I come on a video shoot?" I'm like, "Be prepared to work."
That's a good point, actually. That's not one of the questions that we ask, but we get so many requests, and even like yesterday, I think somebody sent me a request. Can I join you on a photo shoot? You took nice pictures of this car. Can I join you? First of all, I'm not the greatest photographer in the world. I just do what I can.
Oh, finally some truth.
Yeah, that's finally some truth.
Finally some truth.
But the thing is, to see those 4 or 5 nice shots that you see, that's a day of me having driven around and just fluked out on location and on getting a good picture at the right time. Okay, so for somebody to accompany me and to spend an entire day with me, boring old me, because off camera I'm really dull, ask him. That would just be torture. You wouldn't want to do that. That would just be absolute
endless tea.
40 got my coffee here. 40 minutes in, you'd be like, Shazad, just drop me off somewhere and I could get a taxi home because I can't take any more of this. This is terrible. You're such a boring sod. And that's the reality.
You're going to put up with this for the last 7 years.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's not fun. And then we're on a shoot, right? We're on the clock. We have how should I put this kindly? A demanding director And
this is just for the videos. But again, going back to the photo shoots, you think about the cars that we get, and people think, you think like we get these cars for a week. Sometimes we have these cars for 2 days. And in those 2 days, we've got to test the car, we've got to photograph the car.
Form an opinion.
We've got to do a video review. That's once we've formed our opinion, of course, after we've tested the car. So it's a lot of work, and it's not something that we can plan. We just have to go out there and do it. So it takes a while. And this is why, despite all the requests that we get, and we're humbled and privileged and very grateful to get all this interest and you guys wanting to be with us for some reason, I don't know why, but this is why unfortunately we cannot entertain them, because it just wouldn't be logistically feasible, and you'd hate it after the first 10 minutes, honestly speaking.
It's like people want to go into a film set. Same thing, right? No, they want to be in the film. And if you realize how hard Hollywood actors work, or Bollywood, or any actors, it's a lot of hanging around and doing the same thing. Here's a word that I want you to learn. It's called coverage. Coverage is when you shoot the same thing from different angles. Now, this video you're watching right now is one level of coverage. It's just the two of us. But if we were actually doing this in a proper film, we'd have one camera here, one camera here. So this is what we call a master shot.
No, but that's what happened then.
Yeah.
And this is, again, you see a short sequence, which is just the beginning of the thing.
You can see there's 3 different cameras here.
Yeah, but it's actually been shot. Sometimes it's been shot 3-4 different times, and then pieced together, because it's repeated and repeated and repeated. And literally, if you're standing there watching this, you'll be like, oh guys, get on with it. God almighty, Shazad, stop fluffing your lines, But that's what it takes,
This same sheen.
Let's put a sheen on it.
Yeah. Like this, if you notice, there's actually not the typo. When I do my hand thing, there's actually a band-aid on my hand, because we shot this scene at the start and we shot the intro at the end. So, by the way, I should point out, we actually did the whole race for real. Not with these cars specifically on those days because we were filming, but we actually have done the entire race for real.
So, just coming back to Salman's question, we would love to do that, but it requires a shit ton of money, let's be honest. And
I'm charging 5 dirhams per view now.
Yeah, and if and you guys aren't going to pay. Let's be absolutely honest. Let's be honest with each other. Come on, you guys are not going to pay because you're not used to paying for content online. Because so many
have you paid for all the music on your phone?
No,
I feel like that. Yeah. Have you paid for every book?
You don't pay for jack. Let's be honest. And look, so many people say to us like, oh, why didn't you charge people? Why didn't you put up a paywall or something like that? And everybody that we've seen has put up a paywall. It's ended in disaster. It just hasn't worked out, right? And we know
that's not necessarily true. People at the Times and the Journal do okay.
Yeah, that's like we're not in that league.
But they weren't doing that well.
Hardcore journalism.
But truth be told, they weren't doing that well till Trump arrived, and then obviously everybody.
you want the news.
You want bad news. But what we're doing is actually giving informative content.
But basically, so the long and short of it is that you're not going to pay for our content, and if you are, if I'm wrong, then let us know.
Put your hand in your pocket.
Yeah, tell us, because we can set something up. We'll set up like a Patreon or something, and you can pay for us. No problem. We'd be happy to take your money. But likelihood is you're not. So that leaves us with basically sponsors, and people and corporates and companies and people like that paying for it. Confused about how TV works. TV channels don't pay you for shows. They don't commission shows. They don't pay for it unless you're like a Netflix or something like that. But by and large, what happens? By and large, what happens is that you have to lease space off the air. And then you make a program, and then you go and make money off that program. So that's how it works.
So put production into very simple forms. A TV station is like a big chunk, or a big whiteboard, a big empty whiteboard filled with spaces. And it's got to be filled every day with X number of content. People, they buy content from people. And those production companies, again, are not the people who own the content. Somebody else sells the content. A production company makes it and then sells it. It's very, very complicated. And making money off of it is very difficult.
Very difficult. But having said that, nothing is impossible. And if there's anybody out there with very deep pockets that would like to sponsor an MME television program, we're here. We're here, we're ready, we're happy to produce it.
I would love to do a sequel to this. We have actually a very good idea.
More stuff like this, honestly speaking, because stuff like this, and stuff like the Cadillac film, and stuff like the Chevrolet film, and stuff like other stuff that we've done.
But you tell us what you want to see. I mean, you've been watching us for all these years. They can tell us what they want to see.
I mean, it's also very flattering and very nice that people will say to us, and even, sometimes we get a little bit like, oh, stop mentioning Top Gear. We're not Top Gear, we're Motoring Middle East. But it's very flattering.
That's a good comparison.
It's very flattering, it's very complimentary.
Because I don't know of anybody else out here who's been called Top Gear.
So we've done that question, right? We've got a load of other questions. We better
let's crack on with these. So what are the next questions?
Okay, next question. This is from Luke McGreevy.
Hi, Luke.
Have all the car manufacturers, local partners in the UAE confirmed that they will be adding 5% to their prices next year, even though in many cases their prices are already between 30 and 80% more than in other less taxable import countries. This is a bit of a personal.
So do you want to ask it again in a simpler
with-
form so people get what he's talking about?
Basically, he wants to know, will they be adding 5% tax to car prices next year?
And why are cars so expensive?
To which the answer is yes, of course they will.
Yeah.
Because it's VAT, and VAT will be added to everything.
Everything that's sold off next year. That applies, by the way, even if you ordered a car this year and it arrives next year, doesn't matter, it gets 5% added onto it. But I mean, put it into perspective. If it's a 100,000 dirham car, VAT 5% is going to be 105,000. Okay, obviously if we're talking about like a 450,000 dirham car, it will be a bit more. But it's not going to be the end of the world.
No, I mean, I think you're quite right. I think you're talking about 5%. VAT in other countries is like 15, 17.5%. I mean, here we got 5%. So on the price of a car, that's 5% extra on your finance. Now, the thing I will add, though, however, is that as we all know, all kinds of shenanigans happen with pricing, and especially in our market.
Oh, the stories we could tell.
Yeah, because of financing and stuff like that. So a lot of dealers will play around with pricing, and certain bits will be absorbed, and certain bits won't be, and then the sale time goes up, and then incentives, so it goes up and down. So I wouldn't be surprised, although technically, officially, for the record, 5% will be added to everything. That will be your VAT. That's compulsory. That's happening. That is the case. Unofficially, I suspect a lot of dealers are going to incorporate that, or they're going to introduce some sort of incentive where it'll be like we pay your 5%
Just
or
like
something like that.
Right now, they're paying the down payment.
Yeah.
They're paying the down payment, 20%. I think it started off with a couple of people. I think Toyota is one of the first people, Lexus. But now everybody's doing it. There are very few people who aren't doing it. So everybody's paying the down payment because they need your money. This has never been a better time to buy cars. Yeah, they are more expensive than Europe. But that's the truth. That's where we live, unfortunately.
Well, again, I want to add to that as well, because there's good and bad arguments. There are some manufacturers where, to be honest, they are taking the piss a little bit. Let's be absolutely honest. It's like you look at the prices that they have here, and you look at the prices in their own home markets or other markets, and they're considerably more.
Let's say it was Germany. Let's just say.
Now, in some of those cases, the reason they can get away with that is because we're actually a low volume market. Now again, think about it.
We are like a month of sales.
Yeah, I mean, think about it. It's basic economics. Anywhere where there's a high volume of something, high volume, low prices. Low volume, high prices. This is basic economics. So our market is smaller than other markets. And if you take a car that's a high performance car in the UK or in America, and you look at the price and go, why is it cheaper there than it is here? Well, because they're going to get more of them than we are. And here, the dealer is going to have to, restructure for that car, they're going to have to set up for the car, they're going to have to keep extra parts in place, extra gearboxes, clutches, engines, whatever. So there's a whole extra cost.
And the car has to be, as the Americans say, federalized. The car has
to be homologated for a reason. So there's a huge cost that also goes into GCC homologation for the
Arabic,
car.
English manuals, different specs depending on which part of the GCC it's sold in, and each of the manuals are slightly different.
But sometimes it's more than that. Sometimes actual engineering has to take place when the cars are hot.
I think across the board
sometimes they have to find that everything from better cooling to better rubber sealing, because our sand gets everywhere and melts all the rubber seals, to extra radiators and cooling fans in some cases. For example, Lotus put in extra fans for our market. So a bit of extra engineering.
We got an hour or half an hour without him mentioning Lotus.
Yeah, I gotta get Lotus in. I gotta get Star Trek in at some point. So anyway, there's a lot of work and effort that goes into it. So there's two cases why yes, car prices can be more expensive here. One, because they are low volume. We are a low volume market. And they can afford to charge us more because we'll pay more because we want the car. Secondly, there is extra work going into the car, so you're paying for extra, so therefore the car costs extra. Thirdly, because some manufacturers and dealers are taking the piss, let's be absolutely honest, because that's what happens. But supply and demand, people. If people out there are going to pay for it, they're going to charge it because they know they can. For example, how much would you pay for the first whatever to come here? You pay over the odds. You pay because you want it. So the dealer knows that. They're like,
in America, they call that a dealer adjustment. Yeah. And that's typically thousands of dollars. When the first Hellcats came out, somebody was charging $100,000 for them.
And somebody paid it.
Somebody
paid it because
a car is worth what somebody is willing to pay for it.
Yeah, at any given time. So anyway, that's the answer there. The next question is from Mohammed. I hope I pronounced your surname correctly. Liaquat. Mohammed Liaquat. Anyway, he says, why don't you compare cars or SUVs in your shows? It would be great in this competitive market, and also picking the right one will be more easy.
I don't think that's the voice he used when he wrote that question.
No, but I just wanted to do a questioner's generic voice.
Pedantic sound. Sorry, Mohammed. Sorry for him.
So why don't we do that?
Why don't we compare?
Why don't we do comparison?
Logistics, pure logistics.
It's
Now,
difficult.
this is
There's
a
two
lot
of us. Have you noticed? Count.
Yeah.
This is MME. We've got some occasional
And
help,
you're still
but
not
this is
paying for the
MME.
videos.
Yeah.
If you want to start paying for the videos, we can start doing comparison.
Yeah.
But comparisons are tricky out here for two reasons. Like the manufacturers don't really like comparisons, although we try as much as possible to do it, but it's not that easy to do. And logistically, it's very, very hard to drive two cars, and then a third person has to film, shoot everything.
Yeah, but on top of that, what you missed out there completely is that in our market, again, going back to our market, it's not as big or as sophisticated as other markets. If we get car X with 2-liter engine at mid-level trim here, then for an accurate comparison, we have to get car Y, also a 2-liter package with the equivalent trim at the same price level to compare like for like. And in the past, when we've done
hard to do that.
They don't have. The manufacturers or the press offices or the PRs, they won't necessarily have the cars that we want. And in the past, we have done, if you look back through some of our stuff, we have actually tried to do it. And we've actually
86 versus 370Z.
Pathfinder, Explorer,
Yeah.
and particularly on Pathfinder Explorer, we were pulled up immediately because somebody said, well, you've got a Bogo Pathfinder, but you've got a Sport Explorer. We're like, yeah, because that's all we can get.
Yeah.
Yes, ideally we'd like to get like for like, but we can't because the manufacturer just doesn't have those cars. We don't have enough cars here. So really, it's impossible to get, almost impossible to get exactly the right cars to compare to each other.
And then the other side of it, it's difficult to compare cars because manufacturers out here are very eager to have group tests on paper, but in reality, they're not the happiest when they lose. And somebody's got to lose. I don't want to do group tests where it's your choice, pick which one you like.
But having said that, if you watch our reviews, our individual reviews when we're reviewing a car, towards the end, often in the verdict, we will often compare
we will
to
compare and say,
rivals
would you buy a Patrol or this or something like that? Yeah.
So in essence, we kind of are doing those comparison tests, but we're doing it on an individual level. So that's the answer.
It's
to that
not
question.
something we are shy away from, but logistically it's difficult. We'd like to do it.
So move on to the next one.
Next one.
Leigh Pattinson.
Nice.
Yeah. Some of us, for one reason or another, are in the rental car market. How about a top 10 daily driver, not silly car, shootout, but only with rentals? I'm sorry, I'm going to make that face because really I don't get that question at all. I mean, a rental car, how is a rental car different from a normal car, aside from the fact that it's probably really crap and smells?
And trashed.
Why would we review rental cars? First of all, who's paying for these rental cars? Because by the way, full disclosure, we do not pay for these test cars. These test cars are supplied to us by manufacturers, usually, hopefully, with a full tank of fuel.
And the same way around, manufacturers don't pay to be included.
They don't pay, but they give us the car, but we have to fuel it, run it, wash it, whatever, and if we get
not crash it.
we not crash it. But if we have to rent a car, who's paying for the rental? Why would we do that? The rental companies aren't going to give us free cars. Why would they do that? Because for them it's a business. But most importantly, how is that car representative? I mean, a car delivered to us from a manufacturer, we have to assume that the manufacturer has made sure that car is representative. Yeah.
Perfect car.
Whereas if we get a car from a rental company, we don't know what the previous.
Look, I think what Leigh is really asking is, what should I get as a rental car? And that's an easy question to answer.
That's a case of how much are the rental cars? What's the budget?
No, but what's the best rental car is what he's asking. I think that's what he's really asking. So Ford Figo or Nissan Micra.
There's no best rental car.
The best one is the best rental car.
The best rental car is a car that you can get for the time period that you need for the budget that you've got.
I mean, you could argue the Rolls-Royce Phantom is the best rental car in the world, but then again, that's not very cost-effective for most people on a daily basis.
So I'm not really taken with that question because it says, okay, how about a top 10 of rental cars? I don't know, maybe we could do a top 10 just for a laugh. But I don't think we can review.
Of which, like, a Countach will always be the top number one. Somebody in the world must be renting. Somebody's renting a Countach. I'm telling you, if we Google rental Countach,
somebody find out. I can guarantee you, nobody will be renting a Countach. Aventadors, dime a dozen. They're common.
But some classic car rental must be renting a Countach.
Maybe in the UK.
Classic Car Club Manhattan, Classic Car UK.
We'll go to the next question, which is from a very regular reader of ours, a lovely guy called Muhammad L. When will you need a camera car to film a feature car cruising?
I think he's volunteering.
I think that's the question there, that he wants to join us. And go back to referring back to what we were talking about earlier, that you really don't want to be involved in our shoots because they are just boring and time consuming, and usually it's extremely hot.
The trouble is, when you need a camera car, you need a cameraman because you can't drive and film at the same time or shoot. So
it's very complex.
It's a question of understanding what our shoots are like, which is to say a real ball ache most times.
That segues nicely into the next question, which is from Arsalan Usman. When will you gather? Hello, Salman. Why will you gather all your fans during any of your reviews? Again, it's not logistically possible. It's just not possible to get.
We'd like to meet you. We used to organize little coffee things in the library, but it's tough to do. It's tough.
I mean, to be honest, tell us if you want to have gatherings. We can have gatherings. We can have little get-togethers, but not meets.
Not car meets.
Not car meets because they just got completely out of hand, and we need a whole bunch of logistics now to make sure that they're done properly and safely. Which again, without a sponsor, we're not doing.
This is a great car.
That's an awesome car.
That's a beautiful car.
But we can have little get-togethers, little coffee sessions and stuff like that. If you want, let us know. Put it in the comments below, and we'll look into that. So we're not doing that. Next question, Sayyid Sadiq. What exactly? Oh, this is a can of worms. What exactly is the new law about car modification? Well, we have done an interview with Mr. Mohammed, His Excellency actually, His Excellency Mohammed bin Sulayem, and it is on our Facebook page.
Chairman of the ATC and legendary Middle East rally champion, and he basically explained that you need to get your car registered. Beyond that, I would say go to the ESMA website, go to the ATC UAE. I mean, I would recommend you physically go to the ATC, they're in Gises, and you go and speak to them and ask them exactly and show them your car and see what has to be done. But the process as follows is simple and not simple. You have to take your car, get it registered by ESMA, by the ATC, get them to inspect it. They will give you a document. You then take that to ESMA. ESMA will take, I think, a week to 10 days to process and produce a certificate, which you will then be able to produce to the RTA. What is a modified car? There is actually a list of requirements on the ESMA site, supposedly, and the ATC. But again, take your car. If you're not sure, we're not the authority here. Go and talk to ATC. But right now, at the moment, it's all a bit in flux, so I would say talk to as many people as you can. Don't spend any money modifying cars till you know either.
Now, the good thing is, what I must add here, that one of the benefits of this is that there's a sincere, genuine attempt in the UAE to legislate and regulate car modification to make it safer and make it better for everybody
and
involved.
To get rid of all the dangerous modified cars that we know are running around.
Yeah. And also so that you know that you can drive your car around on the road legally, and it's fine, and you'll have documents and stuff to say that it's okay. So all of that it's a good thing. It's a good step, and we wish it all the best. And I'm sure it's going to develop more going forward.
But long story short, right now, go and talk to the authorities. They'll be the best ones to tell you how to get there.
Now, this question again we've already answered, but I'm going to read it out anyway. This is from Shobit Shobit.
Why did we get him to do this? I can actually.
Yeah. When can we have the good old days back? We need dem car meet. And he spelled dem, D-E-M, which is kind of cool. There you go. We need dem car meets. Should I say it like this? We need dem car meets back, man. Because no one does it better.
Some rasmalai.
Yeah. Because no one does it better than MME. Sure. He said it. Miss it.
That's
all.
a James Bond reference. Nobody does it any better.
Nobody does it better. So thank you very much for Shabit. For that, Shabit. We really appreciate your sentiment and your comment there. And
we want to bring them back, but it's just not feasible now.
Logistically, they're just too big. Again, if a big headline sponsor comes along, then it's possible. So never say never. And we have ideas. To be honest, and to be honest, we have ideas for car events. But again, they will require a bit of investment. So never say never. Watch this space. You never know what will happen. At the moment, no plans. If there is any plans, stick to our Facebook page, because that's where you'll hear about it first. We're also on Twitter, ME_, and we're also on Facebook at Motoring Middle East. From no other, so I always get confused whether it's no other or another car guy. Another car guy. Okay, you have quite a fan following, so will you try to get your page verified? I think he's referring to the Facebook page.
Yeah.
I thought we were verified.
I have no idea.
I'll look into it, mate. I really don't know. I think
we'll get back to you on
that. No, to be fair, I think about a year ago I looked into this. And at that time, Middle East pages weren't being verified at that time.
Yeah, we're Middle East pages. Yeah, this is good if you're Kim Kardashian. Yeah. This wants to basically prove that really it is Kim Kardashian's phone sending out those tweets, Instagram, etc. But you can see us. We are literally here.
Yeah. But
we're actually paid actors.
Yeah. So I'll look into it again. But unless if somebody else out there has some advice about how we do that or whether it's necessary to do that, then let us know. I think I looked into it before and it wasn't possible. So I'll look into it.
17 minutes left.
Okay. Vinay Bhatia.
Long time reader.
Vinay when Bhatia. Will you test and review the Bugatti Chiron? Chiron.
Who knows?
The Chironi. When will we test the Bugatti Chironi?
Is it Bugatti Pepperoni?
The Chiron. When we get one. Simple answer. You know, they don't grow
on
hang them out.
trees.
They don't just go, yeah, it's a Veyron, there you go, it's a Chiron, whatever.
The trouble is, for this market, Bugatti, I bet you in a year will start doing test reviews, because it's more important to get the cars out. Obviously, the premium media have already gone out and had their go in it.
By that we mean international guys.
Yeah.
But anyway.
And all the local guys will take about a year to get the car.
Again,
so
never say never.
it could
Never say
happen
never.
all of a sudden.
Stay
But
tuned.
it'll probably happen in the middle of summer, when it's boiling hot.
Stay tuned anyway.
Take a quad turbo W16 to the limit.
I have views about the Bugatti, but I think that'll just...
You know what?
We'll
let's get a quick snapshot of his views. Quick snapshot, 10 seconds.
Well, I drove the Veyron,
Okay.
and I wasn't all that taken with it, to be honest. First of all, it's just the sense of speed you don't get in that car, and I did mean you don't get in that car, because it's just so good at doing what it does, that actually you could be doing 300 kilometers an hour and you'll be like, reading your text while you're doing it, because you really don't feel that, whereas in other cars...
We hear the new one's better. But of course the new one's going to be better.
But also the interior on the old Veyron was not very impressive. It was literally like VW parts bin. It was just like, really? You couldn't do better than this? The new one, however, has a much more sculptured interior, so I'm looking forward to that. But
Which is nice if you're a billionaire. You
it's
deserve
nice
a
if you're
better
billionaire,
interior.
yeah. But there's a whole question about how relevant is that car and really... But again,
you know what? That car was like Concorde.
Yeah.
Now we don't care about Concorde. Now we
Yeah.
care about saving the planet.
Let's save that conversation for when we get that car, which hopefully we will do. You never know. So just stay tuned. Next question from Mohammed Zayshan. Would you guys hire me? No. Sorry, was that a bit blunt? Sorry. Was that a bit brutal? Did I just crush somebody's hopes and aspirations there?
He didn't really send us much in the way of a CV.
No,
So,
but to be honest, two reasons. A, we're not hiring at the moment. B, we have limited resources. C, I've been doing this a very long time. He's been doing this quite a long time. We
Just
try
not
to
as
bring
old as
you, we try to bring you credible, quality, authoritative opinion and reviews and infotainment information.
not influence.
But influences. So generally, the two of us and the other people that we use to help us are people that are highly experienced in doing what they're doing. So we're trying to.
They're
bring
not
you,
our friends and neighbors.
No, so we're bringing you a level of quality here. So decide all of this, mockery and humor and all this piss taking and everything. But the reality is, we do take quite seriously what we do, and we try and bring you quality information. And to do that, we use quality people to do it. So I don't want to be harsh to anyone, but
You've just told him no. How you can't get harsher than that?
That's it. Sorry.
Move on. He's already crying. There's one tear falling as he listens to this.
Well, by the way, don't be a motoring journalist anyway, and there's a whole other article about that. Just Google it, and I've written it, so it's on MME anyway. Check it out, and there's many reasons why you shouldn't be. When can we see, this is from Osama Rahil Khan, when can we see your very own long-term car? Huh?
Wow.
How many have you done?
Millions and millions of the RAM.
Toyota 86, Jeep Wrangler, Ram, plus a DeLorean.
Yeah.
How many cars do you want him to buy?
Well, they want to see your long-term car. And you had a long-term CRV for years.
Well, I'm a blagger. To be honest. I get cars off manufacturers. So I'm like, what car is going free next week? So, so I don't really necessarily own a car at the moment. So you won't see that from me. But I think he more than compensates.
Yeah, I'm always in the desert. Most weekends I'm having a picture out there. The car's having a go. And I should put something up actually from this weekend, because we're out pushing our cars to the limit.
And you can't miss his RAM if you see it, the MME RAM. You can't miss it
literally
because it literally says Motoring Middle East on the front bumper.
Laser cut in steel.
Yeah, so do check it out. And that's a good challenge for you. If you see it out and about, take a picture and post it. Prove that you've seen our
Don't put
MME
hashtag
RAM.
plonker.
Yeah.
Be nice. Actually, I'm happy to talk to people. They come up and say hello to me. I had a couple of people.
We're happy to do that.
Come just... Like, if you want to have a coffee instead of making us stand in a car park for like 2 hours. That's what usually happens.
We don't mind. We love it. We love it when people come up and say hello to us. We really appreciate that. We always love it. We always take time to say hello to you guys. And then Sony, again, we've already answered this question, but I'll just read it out. When's the next car meetup? Stay tuned. You never knew.
Are we just the car meet guys?
Yeah.
We might just be the car meet guys.
Matthew Teocharus. Matthew.
Yeah.
Why do black tires make white smoke?
This is a question for him. He's such a hoon.
I don't know. What I do know is a lot of the drift guys, they do have colored rubber so that they can make different colored smoke as they're drifting around corners and stuff. So it is possible to actually tune that color to what you want. But why does it make white smoke? Because it's just smoke, isn't it? Because it's the production of friction, so it is actually being generated.
It's rubber atomized.
Yeah, but no, the rubber atomized ends up on your car body. That's the stuff that you end up on your rear fender, and you can't get it off because it's just stuck on there. It's awful.
Actually, you know how you get it off? Cheap way to do it. Heat gun. Just whack a heat gun and rubber just falls off.
I wouldn't advise people to do that.
Nah, be fine. Don't whack the heat gun into the paint, but that rubber will just come straight off.
I think there's some chemicals and stuff that you can use as well. Anyway, so the smoke is just friction. It's just being caused by heat, so therefore it is just normal smoke, so therefore it is white smoke. Maz Kalfe, who just said road trip to GCC countries. In response to which Salman said, fantastic idea, a season special maybe, Top Gear style. He's back on his Top Gear thing again.
In the world, man.
Grand tour of the DCC by road from the golden sands of Rubul Khali, the empty quarter, to the Hajar Mountains. He should be our director. He's got the whole thing written up. From the lush forests of Salalah to the plains of Najd. From the valleys of Riyadh.
Salalah doesn't have so many lush forests per se.
It depends what time of year you go. Yeah. From the valleys of Riyadh to the coast of Kuwait, casting away in Bahrain and the longest sea bridge in the Middle East. It can turn out to be an awesome episode. Yes, it can. Absolutely. We would love to do it. We want $1 million, please.
That's what that'll cost.
It really will.
It will actually cost $1 million.
Especially for the permissions in some of these places. But
fixers, people to make things happen. Transporting cars. Because getting through the border is not as straightforward when you're a film crew as you are when just you. Because you can just drive around. But if we turn up there with cameras, we will be stopped and asked questions, and we have to get what's that? A carnet de passage.
It's all possible. It's all possible, and we would absolutely love to do this. In fact, you recently did a trip to Salalah.
Yes.
So you did drive to Salalah.
I drove a pickup truck all the way from Dubai to Salalah. It's about 1,200 kilometers. It's a bloody. I recommend it. Now don't go because the Kharif season, the monsoon season is over, so I wouldn't recommend it. But for most people, Salalah between mid-July to mid-August, beautiful place. We'd love to go back there.
We'd love to do that. But also, again, reference back to a video that I mentioned earlier, which was the Ford video, which is, by the way, that's not branded content. That's my own content. And that was back in, that was in
It's
Jordan.
my least favorite one.
That's his Will Smith jacket there.
Yeah.
So the Ford drive through Jordan, check it out. That was one of those things. So we have a question from Ahmed Shumayal. Shumayal. Please mark sponsored posts as such, otherwise it is deceiving. Apart from that, everything is perfect. Thank you for that question, Ahmed.
Everything is perfect.
Everything is perfect. This is like the Lego song, isn't it?
Yeah.
Everything is wonderful. Awesome. Everything is awesome. Anyway, it's not that. We're not great singers here. We do, because we tend to put a logo on that stuff. So whenever there's branded video, there'll always be an associated sponsored logo on the video, so you'll know that
either the start or the beginning, but one of the two.
Start at the beginning will be there, and when the content is hosted on the website, if you see normally on the top right corner, we normally put sponsored content.
So everything is marked sponsored.
So we do tag it up.
But now that they know what to look for, so good question, Ahmed. But now also, you know what to look for.
But also the other thing is that I think a lot of people, a lot of audiences now savvy enough to know, when it's sponsored content or when it's branded.
Well, we're not going to suddenly turn up one day saying this is a fresh new fragrance.
Yeah. Well, we could do.
Pay
us enough money. Sponsor the damn show. We'll do that. I'll do that. I'll wear the watches and everything. I don't mind. You tell me. Won't wear a t-shirt though. He'll wear the t-shirts. Anyway.
I've never seen his arms. No, what's under them? I have not seen them. He could be the Terminator. You could pull it back and it's all just wires and metal.
Between here and here, nothing exists.
Yeah. Seriously.
Okay, Mohammed Shujat. Can Shazad can Shazad imitate Amitabh Bachchan since he almost looks like him? Look, I don't know. I have to admit, this is not the first time somebody has said this. A lot of people have said that. Yeah. And I was a huge fan of Amitabh Bachchan
what happened? What's
in the 80s. I just don't watch any movies anymore. I don't watch them, but I used to. I don't like them anymore. But I used to watch a lot. I watched a lot of the 70s and 80s stuff.
Fickle.
And on my own personal blog, I do have a blog, and I'll put the link down there somewhere. I am doing a bit of an Amitabh Bachchan retrospective. This is completely off topic, but if you want to check it out, I'm going back to his original movies and reviewing them one by one. He's looking at his watch now. He's like, "Stop talking about Amitabh Bachchan." Wow. So I'll try and do more Amitabh Bachchan imitations.
7 minutes.
7 minutes. Okay, yeah. All right. No, we're nearly there. And so, thank you for that. Maybe I'll learn a few more things. Maybe we'll try and incorporate them. I don't know.
No, we're not. No, don't encourage him. I can't take it as it is. I don't watch Bollywood movies at all.
Afif Trigu, he's also asked a question that has been asked before. Can you hire me? No. I refer the honourable gentleman to my previous answer on that. And finally, question from Phil Yusuf. Why are you
It's a tough question, actually.
Why are you scared to trash an auto manufacturer? I'm not.
We're not.
I'm not. Go back, look, do a search, Shazad Sheikh review Aston Martin Vanquish, and read that review. Do a search, Shazad Sheikh Motoring Middle East, Nissan Camel Power thing. And, you know, I mean, Nissan are not talking to me for that.
Yeah.
That's what's happening. Okay? So we're not. We're not. But, however, let me just put it into context, okay? We're not sitting here, or we don't plan to go out and trash manufacturers or to pick on cars.
That's childish.
That's not what we're about.
That's immature.
That's not what we're about. And there's two reasons for this. Because I've been doing this a long time, and there was a period way back when you could pick out really bad cars, because there were bad cars.
What was a bad car? Like an objectively bad car? Nissan Arna?
You could take like a Ford Orion in the UK. It was a horrible car, you know.
And you had to Google a Ford Orion.
Yeah.
Now, but
there were tons of cars. My own Cortina was a piece of junk. Anyway, there were bad cars. Nowadays, there's no bad cars. I mean, even some of the Chinese cars I've driven lately, they're really good.
They didn't break down on us.
But they're not only that, but they're actually good. Yeah. I mean, you know, I would own a Geely. I was actually that good a car. I would go, I would consider owning it. It's that good. Yeah. So there's no such thing as a bad car. Secondly, we're car lovers. This is why we do this. We're car lovers. We want every car to be good. We want every
just like you go and buy a car and you don't go there, oh, this is utter shit. I will now tell all my friends. No, you don't. You make excuses for it. But that's not to say we're not honest. No. When it comes to a car, we're honest. But it's harder and harder to be rude about cars because they're so good now.
They're so good. But having said that, the third thing is we put cars into context, right? Because so a lot of new people entering the scene, their frame of reference is limited. So they'll be like, okay, this car is crap because it's not as fast as a Lamborghini Aventador. And like, yeah, but you're testing a Suzuki Baleno, which I will be next week, so stay tuned for that, by the way. But we put cars into context. So we put them into the sort of market segment that they're in, but also the type of customer or the person that will be buying that car. And we reviewed in that context. If we reviewed every single car on the basis of this one person that really only likes supercars, and every car is shit. That's a fact.
We're not a supercar reviewing channel.
Well, we can do. But my point
But we're not. We try everything.
But my point being is that we put the car into its correct context and we review it according to those criteria. And all cars are good. But answering your question, we're not scared. No, and we have done, and we've paid the full
as well. I think a lot of people are expecting Clarkson style takedowns. That is the impression that's why I got into the business, because I love Clarkson. I remember him trashing the Vauxhall Astra, a car which we never got and I've never driven. Actually, I have driven it now. It's the Opel Astra. Great car, surprisingly great car. But people expect motoring journalism to be a bunch of people just ragging a car and just making fun of it mercilessly. That was entertainment. But that's not today. That is not today. Today, we are all a bit more serious about the way we do things. I remember Clarkson get away with that because he was top gear. Vauxhall didn't speak to him for years.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And that's a risk you're on. We accept that risk. But that era is gone because the cars, as he said, aren't as bad as they used to be. Very few people put out a bad car. The worst car, I suppose, I can't even think of anything. I mean, the Peugeot 301 was so boring, so utterly boring. That car topped out at 140, just on the legals, and that literally topped out. But it was still an okay car. It was just terrible and horrible.
You've driven a Chinese-made MG. I've driven a Chinese-made Changan, whatever you want to call it.
Not to be confused with Chandan.
Yeah, and neither of us could go,
no,
terrible car, don't drive it. No, both of us ended up saying, actually, for the money.
So we're not going to make stuff up, because a lot of times Clarkson was really exaggerating things to make a point. But today you can't do that because you will pull us up. If we talk shit about a car, 5% of you might agree with us and go, yeah, that's a really, really nasty thing to say. I like that. Another 95% of you say, that's a mean thing to say because you're not being fair. And even if you're not being fair, it's not the way the journalism is now. No, when Usain Bolt doesn't break a record, people don't go, he was shit, wasn't he? They don't do that.
But that's not. But that is not what we're about. We're not out here just to make really controversial statements to try and get some extra.
That lasts for about 5 minutes. Yeah, that's not how things are out here. You can say stuff for a while, and then people get bored of you. Once you're just sitting and angrily ranting away how bad things are. That was our timer.
That's our time. Oh, our time is nearly up.
Our time is up.
No. I mean, not like our time is up. I mean, like for this video, our time is up.
You got very dark there for
a second. No, it's just like our time is up. That's it. We just die. We automatically self-destruct. No, okay. So there you go. That was, and then we did get to, we got through all the questions.
We got through all the questions.
So that's good.
Episode 1 of Full Chat is
Full
done.
Chat!
Yeah.
MME Full Chat. That's like full throttle, full chat, in case you didn't get the reference. And then chatting, so therefore. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. Do let us know what you thought of this. Do let us know if you want to see more of this. Check us out on motoringme.com, on facebook.com/Motoring Middle East, on youtube.com/Motoring Middle East. We're also on Instagram and Twitter. Just search for us there. You can also search for us individually on our own channels as well. We put up a lot of content that's behind the scenes and all personal and all that sort of stuff. But there you go. That was the first episode. Hope you enjoyed it. And if you want, we'll come back for another one, won't we?
We will. Well, you probably will.
Okay.
Now that we answered all your questions, and I mean all your questions, we're going to really think of something to say next time.
Yeah. Well, send us some more questions as well. You can send us more questions.
We got plenty of opinions though.
Yeah, there you go.
From the Chiron to what's Land Rover doing the Discovery, really. We got loads of questions and loads of stern opinions. So we'll be back.